Hey everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we are working with my Wagner sprayer. This is a paint sprayer. It will hold about 2 gallons of paint, maybe a little less. It is a Paint Crew. We've had one of these around. I think this is our second one. The first one we had, we did the typical homeowner deal where you flush it out with water and store it and put it away. We actually found out it's best to run mineral spirits through it to keep it lubricated. If even at all possible you can, it's good to store it disassembled. So this time I went to go paint on our house that needed some siding work. And I'm getting ready to do some work on this house, as you know. And I've got too much to do. I started to hand brush some shutters because the last time I got this out it didn't work. I painted one shutter and it took me 20 minutes, and I thought I would much rather do it with the power sprayer. So we got to figure out what's wrong with it and do a little bit of work. As you can see here, these are the filters that go in the handle. I've got a fine and a medium nozzle, and then the actual spray tip nozzle. We store that right in the mineral spirit so that they don't get dried out and clogged up. It's about $7 a piece, I think. I don't remember the exact price, but this model's been around for a while. Like I said, we have probably started with this at least 10 years ago. So they changed the design a little here and there, and maybe there's some flaws to this particular model that the others might not have. But let me show you here. This is the paint screen I just took off, and this makes sure that nothing big's getting clogged down in there. And this little nut stores on the side. Stick this right down in there. We're gonna have to take this out and see what's going on. I gotta get some pliers here because that is in there snug from sitting for so long. Do a little bit of diagnostic work. She powers on, she won't stop priming. The water, when I started and when I first used it, I thought, oh, she's all ready to go. When I put paint through it, it would prime, it would go through here. You get that flowing through your system, but nothing out here. So we've got a problem between here and here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so after you get this part out, we actually had to pull it out. We threaded it, and it was just sitting there spinning. He pulled it out for me. This is what sits down in the bottom, and this is what is your trouble generally if it's not spraying. This is spring loaded, and it was corroded and loaded full of bugs because apparently when I stored it, I did not store this on top. Maybe it was from when I had taken it apart before, but I have actually replaced this once before because the springs can go bad. But see that little gasket there? If it's not opening and closing on demand, that O-ring can go bad. So we're going to clean this in the mineral spirits and run a test with it and see how it's going. We also disconnected the hose, and we could see that there was a lot of crud right in there. And this end is closed off for your pressure for spraying. There's a little dried paint on there, so I'll clean that up too. Now I took the wire brush to that, but be careful. Right around that center spray in my finger here, the little tiny O-ring right there, and with the paint on it, you couldn't see it. Don't want to lose that. So they call the yellow one the fine spray tip, and this is the medium. So you can see I had it in my jar, and I had a lot of sediment. This is how we clean them out. Of course, we always run the mineral spirits through it before we shut it down in between every use, and then store it in the mineral spirits. So I got my little piece soaking in there right now, and I'm going to refill my jar to give these a good flush. Okay, so here's our part much better cleaned up. I took the wire brush to it and the soft brush. I flushed out my jar and put new mineral spirits in it, and I took my knife tip right down in there. Now it is operating a lot better. Yeah. It lets just enough through so you're not getting giant globs of paint. And then the end of the hose there reduces it even more. So part of the reason I knew this was the problem, besides the crud in it, it sits right down in there. So when you push on this, you're supposed to be able to feel it go up and down, and it wasn't really going very smoothly, very little bit. And it doesn't open and close a ton, you can see, but it was not even going that much, that smoothly. I'm going to set that down in there. See, now you can see, you can use a tool. I've got this awl, and you can tell it's going down much more now. So if that's not moving as freely as it is now for me, if yours is doing that, look into that. Take that right out of there. So in the meantime, these are my spray tips. I always keep a second one on hand. That is a tip for you because they can get clogged and then they start giving you splatter instead of a good spray. So you can see the one has been soaking, the other one not. And a good way to know is if you can see daylight through that hole right there. And that one, I can't see any daylight at all. So I'm going to soak that. And I'll tell you, the hole is very, very small. So if you need to pick it out and clean it, you're going to need something very small like a sewing needle. This one I can see daylight through, but I should be able to see more. So that's going in the jar also. And when I stored it, I had cleaned it, but put in a brand new tip. And that's looking a little cruddy too. So in it's going. The inside doesn't have much of anything in it. It's just collected on the outside a bit. Give it a swash. Alright, so if you're wondering about that, this little tool sits right on here for storage. You don't want to lose it. Of course I can't get it back on there now that I'm filming. Huh, that never works right one-handed. Okay. So that's how she fits on there. Make sure you don't lose that. That's real important to have. And now we're going to hook our hose back up here. See? It's a little bit... Yeah, see, I got a little bit of junk in there. I'll wipe that out. If you're new to the channel, this is what we use for rags. All our old Hanes products. We're rough on our stuff. Shop rags only last for one use. Hanes gets a whole new life in the shop at our place. Yeah, see. Even though that's been cleaned out, this is telling me break it down further in between use. We've used this a lot. We've painted 3 house exteriors with it, a basement. One of the houses got a second repaint a few years later, and it's due for another one. I'd rather use this than pay the money to have the siding. Alright, that's looking a lot better in there. Alright, so now we are getting it set up with a filter, and I'm going to put the fine filter in. Put that up there. Hand tight so you can get it back off. right, hook this up to your hose. Okay, now we got our hose end, and you know, the thing that I like about this, I looked at a Graco sprayer. It seems a lot more complicated. I don't think a contractor would use something quite like this. Other paint sprayers have adapters so they can put their hose and their sprayer right into a bucket and direct instead of pouring it into this hopper. So I'm going to fill up this hopper with some water and we'll give it a test. Alright, we're going to do a raw first try test here. We got our primer nozzle sitting here. If you're cleaning out your paint sprayer, this rotates out so that you can put your paint back into your bucket. So for this purpose, we are going to put it on prime and power it on. That's supposed to stay down. There we go. Got priming. All right.
Just in time.
So Trey let me know that I didn't get this on tight enough. So I'm going to grab a wrench and tighten that. Okay, so you can see nothing's coming out. It's still priming. We have another issue. So we're going to shut this down and dig further into it. So this tells me that there's something going on down here into this pump section. So now we're going to get into there. Right, take two. I got into the end of this. There's an outlet valve. Check the spring and the O-ring in there. They seem to be functioning well, and it wasn't disgusting, but I gave it a scrub and a clean and went through my handgun and cleaned my spraying tip quite a bit more. So we're going to put this on prime. We're going to see what happens now. So that means it's priming. Now when you switch that over, it's supposed to stop priming. That sounds better. It's not shutting off all the way. And that hose is vibrating. I read about that. A lot of forums on this. And my spray lock was just gummed right up with paint. So I freed that up. Ooh, that's a good sign. Woo! I fixed it for free, everybody. I didn't have to order any parts. So the next time I use this, we are going to do a better tear down. We always take the handle and nozzle apart, but there were some areas. Now something's still sounding a little not quite right there, but at least she's spraying now. Yay! Huh, baby? Georgie came right over to help. You're crazy. Do it that way. Oh, I am pleased as punch about that, huh? Looky, looky. Fixing the Wagner Paint Crew Power Sprayer, everybody. Thanks for watching and following along. I'm so glad we got it. We'll see you next time doing some painting.